Hello guys, M.V.K here, coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? Hope everybody is well on their end. Welcome back to the Opinion Spot. And as you know, if you saw on my Facebook, I said I was going to give my thoughts on this and this topic in a sense. So a while back, guys, I was reading an article that was dealing with one of my favorite movie characters, by the name of Henry Jones Jr., aka Indiana Jones. And the article, by the way, the link is in the description if you want to read it for yourself. Basically, the article was basically going on talking about is Indiana Jones going to become the next James Bond, in the sense of, will it be a legacy character? And I thought about that, and I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Especially because now that Disney owns it, and I've said it before, Disney is like an apex predator now. They're just taking anything they can, big franchises, and just grabbing it. So, but when I look at this, I read the article and I was like, you know what, this guy is making a lot of sense in so to speak. So I really thought about that. Now, if you are a child of the 80s, like yours truly here, you practically grew up with the Indiana Jones. If you didn't get to see it until the late 90s or so on and so forth, you still enjoyed the ride and the adventures of Dr. Jones. It's still funny to this day, no matter how many times I hear it, but to hear that Harrison Ford, Mr. Ford, wasn't the original choice for the character, you kind of scratch your head a little bit. You're like, and when you hear the previous actor who's going to do it, you kind of look at it like, almost in a sense of, like, could he have pulled it off better than the person that did it now? And that actor is, no disrespect at all to Mr. Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck was up for the role, but he was committed to doing Magnum, so he couldn't do it. Just like how Kurt Russell was up for Han Solo. So a lot of things come into factor with that. But for me, growing up and finally getting to see the first two Indiana Jones movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Temple of Doom, my mom introduced me to the movie. And I loved them ever since. When I still had them on VHS and stuff, popped them in. And me and my mom used to just watch it all the time. We would love it. Watch Temple of Doom all the time, and Mom would sing. She would sing Willie's part, and we would just have a blast. And we went to see The Last Crusade together. And it's one of my greatest memories of my mom. Is one of them. Is going to see the third Indiana Jones movie with her and enjoying the heck out of it, loving the chemistry between Mr. Sean Connery, James Bond, get it, and Indiana Jones. It was really good. I mean, they had such great chemistry. They really, really just fed off each other. They played off each other so well, and it became one of my favorites out of the trilogy at the time. And then came the Crystal Skull, which I know a lot of people really are iffy on, but I did not hate the movie. I have some problems with it, but I did not hate it. But I did have some problems with it, and but overall, I didn't hate it. I figured, we're talking 1950s, so what was one of the biggest things that came out of the 1950s or so? The whole Roswell, thing, aliens and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, they're gonna bring that into act. But then the fourth one left us on a cliff note of like, okay, does, now that we know Indy has a son, does the legacy pass on to him? Because let's face it, no matter how much I love and respect Mr. Harrison Ford, he's getting up there now, and he is getting to the point where he's 71, and in this, he can't pull off the same things he could do back when he was doing when he was doing Raiders of the Lost Ark or things like that, and Disney now is looking for more of a younger actor to pull that role off. And they are looking at almost like a legacy now, like a legacy character, of the fact that, they want to really promote this now, not just for movies, but into more of games and stuff like that as well. Disney likes to branch out and do the games and things like that, and there have been plenty of Indiana Jones games back in the day. I remember a couple of them. But the fact of the matter is, they are definitely looking for somebody younger, and there have been a couple of actors that have been on their radar, and it's tough competition. But being that it's they want it to almost feel like a legacy character. Same thing, similar to James Bond has. We've seen many men come along and play the character of James Bond, from your Sean Connerys to your Roger Moore to your Timothy Daltons to your excuse me, to recently now to your Daniel Craigs, and like I said, things like that. Excuse me. They kind of want to see it in a similar thought of like that, but also keep it younger. Now, the actors they have been looking at in terms are Patterson from the Twilight series, and like I said, I'm not a big fan of the Twilight series. I never have been. I have no harbor against, him. Nothing to say, because I really don't know the guy. I never really sat down and watched any movie he was in, so I can't really say. So, but the other actor is Bradley Cooper, who I have sat down and watched, and Mr. Cooper does have the range to pull off a character like Dr. Jones or so. And then recently, it's more of Chris Pratt, who is in his 30s, and he's 34. He's, I think, 2 years older than me, excuse me. So, they're looking at, those are some of the names that are coming out of the woodwork for them. But it also feels the fact that not only will that necessarily just say, okay, well, the hell with what happened in Crystal Skull, with the whole Shia LaBeouf, taking on the role and stuff, taking on what his father's legacy, so that's kind of how I felt like when reading the articles, like they won't even care about that. Just keep it Indiana Jones, whether it's Henry Jones Jr., but maybe younger, back in the days when he first started out, and that's something I also look at, is because of the fact that with that being mine, I really wouldn't want Indy to go too far into the present, like, the 1960s or 70s or 80s or something like that, because by that time, in that sense, it really felt better for Indy to be back in the 30s and the 20s and things like that, in the 1940s or so, where myth and legend and discovering hidden cities and artifacts was really big. So I really want to keep it in that 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 era. Um, you know, it would be really cool to see, Indy go after, try to find the ancient city of gold, El Dorado, or you know, Shangri-La, or maybe go more into. We've seen him go into Hinduism, and the whole aspect of India and Temple of Doom. We've seen him take on the Holy Grail and the Ark. But I would love to see him tackle some ancient South Asian legends, or like I said, City of El Dorado, or things like that, where we could see how branch out and showcase that he's not just a great archaeologist for no damn reason, even though he's part time, but he's pretty damn, you know, around worldwide, you know. But all in all, I wouldn't mind this. Do I want to see another Indiana Jones? Yes. Would I mind the character becoming a legacy character where maybe a few movies, one actor does it and then another actor does it? I wouldn't mind it. It seems to work for James Bond, and it's worked for him pretty well. It's like almost in a sense, Doctor Who as well. He's TV's legacy character. The fact is that we get accustomed to that, and I know, and I speak for myself and probably everybody else, is that it would be very hard to see Indiana Jones not played by Harrison Ford. I understand that very, very much. It's the same thing. What's going on with the latest Star Wars? This is supposedly Mr. Ford's last performance as Han Solo. So you see where I'm going at with that? So it is hard. It's hard to see sometimes characters that we love that was brought to you by this certain actor or actress, and we see somebody else take it over, and it does kind of come off like, man, I don't know how to feel about this. But I personally and honestly, I think Mr. Ford should pass the whip off to someone else who would really appreciate the role and not just make it his own, but maybe even take snippets of what Mr. Ford did for the character. I mean, it's the same thing as in the sense of, would it be hard for anybody else to literally play the Terminator besides Arnold Schwarzenegger? And people, I mean, it'd be like somebody taking over Rambo, or taking over, like, we're gonna do Rocky, but it's gonna be somebody else gonna play Rocky, things like that. I do know there's a spin-off movie of Rocky coming out where it's about Apollo Creed's grandson. So, I'm not joking about that. It's the same thing with what's going on with Highlander. Ryan Reynolds is gonna play Connor McLeod. I can understand as a fan of those characters, it is hard to see somebody else play it, but then you also look at it from another point of view, and you're like, okay, this is their take of it. That's how I look at with the James Bonds. It's like I have my favorites, and then I have my less favorites, but then I also look at every actor that played the character and see what their twist to the role. Timothy Dalton did this, but Roger Moore did this. His way was a little different. Sean Connery was this way. Daniel Craig is this way. You see where I'm going at with that? But for Indiana Jones, it's kind of, in a sense, well, Disney wants to do it, and they're going to do it anyway because they have the rights to the character now, and it may hurt some fans, but it may happen, and they want to keep the character abroad and keep it in the limelight. And if that means using the L word, legacy, of the character, that's what they're going to do. But for me, I'm pretty cool with it.
It would seem plausible to do, but then of course there's the continuity as well. It's like, where does it, you go with a younger actor, so when is this taking place? You see also where my fears come from with this as well. But other than that, guys, thank you for listening. And what is your opinion on this subject? Do you feel that this could be a right move for the character of Indiana Jones, or do you feel that we should just remember who the character was with the 4 movies that were out, or some people say the 3 movies that were, and just keep it as that was Mr. Harrison Ford's character, and nobody else should take up the role. So I would love to hear you guys' opinion on this. As you all know, this is the opinion spot, where in my opinion, here, your opinion matters. I love hearing what you guys think about the topics for the opinion spot. And I will see you guys next time on the opinion spot. I got plenty more to talk about. Plenty more topics coming for you for the opinion spot. And I'm about to hit 300 segments of the opinion spot, so that's going to be pretty. I'm getting there. I've been doing the opinion spot for some time now, and I'm still going strong with it. So thank you for watching, guys. You guys take care. I'll see you guys later.